If you could share your story and your journey and create a massive personal brand online, what would that do to your business and your earning potential? So what if we allowed that personal branding to create a massive following on your social media? What if your brand could help you navigate any and every change in the market? And that's what we're going to talk today with our special episode on personal branding. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rise and Be Rich. We create these shows and episodes to help people who are either thinking of starting a self-employment or a business, or have a business and now they are ready to scale through high growth marketing strategies. So we love serving our coaches, our consultants, our wellness business owners and small business owners who are in this community. And what would be more high growth than learning about building your personal brand? And today we are really fortunate to have Indian television star and Bollywood choreographer Rupal Tyagi. And she's going to share her story with us, how she built up her brand and career on social and other media. Now, for those of you who follow Indian television, you will know her from her hit TV shows, including her reality TV show, Big Boss. But even for people like me, and I've been out of India for over 2 decades, I'm still very partial to Indian dance and music. So when we used to go back to India, I used to find and watch this show called Chalak Diklaja, which was a dance show, and Rupal was one of the seasons in it. So she has also choreographed hit songs in Bollywood movies. So let's welcome her to the show. Thank you for joining us, Rupal.
Thank you so much. That was such a warm and nice welcome. I mean, I suddenly, you never really articulate your journey like on your own, but when someone else does that for you, it just sort of, for me, every time it's baffling because it's like, oh my God, wow, this is where my life has come. So thank you so much for that warm welcome.
It's really lovely meeting you, and you've got such an amazing energy. But the first question I really wanted to get to you, because we are interviewing experts from Prarambh, and as you as an actor and as an entrepreneur, you must have gone through so many ups and downs in your life. We go through all these challenges in our journeys, but with the big challenges that we are facing right now across the globe, what would your advice be to ride this change?
Okay, so first of all, I think, I'll keep my journey aside. Let's talk about the current situation because, when we actually step out to struggle, the challenges that we face are very different when, especially you're trying to build yourself as an actor and, you don't come in from the industry. So that's a different ball game altogether. But in terms of what's happening around the world right now, I think one big lesson that we've all learned is that change is going to happen. Change is inevitable. And somehow nobody ever prepares us for that. People are always telling you, okay, when change happens, this is now how you will change. But the process of changing from point A to point B, nobody really ever focuses on that change. Suddenly life throws a new challenge at you and you find yourself in a new place. And now it takes you a while to actually adjust to that and figure out what to do there. So there are two aspects to this. One is the mental aspect, one that will probably be a physical change in your life. What you were doing before, what you will be doing tomorrow. That's a physical change. But there is also a very mental and emotional change that comes along with this. And somehow nobody teaches you to be equipped for that change, especially mentally, because a physical change, we find it easy. We navigate somehow. But how does one mentally bring ourselves emotionally and mentally to this new reality that, you're faced with? So I feel like working on our mental structure and how we actually think and feel, getting that somewhat in control becomes very important.
Yeah, no, what you were saying is so true, because I think we are going through a massive process of transformation and most of us don't really understand it. But you were talking about your personal story, and I was looking at your Wikipedia page, and that's very impressive. You've done so many shows and worked on such incredible projects, but our global audience may not be aware of your backstory. So I actually would like you to share a little bit of your backstory. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how your journey, because that would give context to what you just said, because I'm sure this journey has brought this transformation process, in the forefront for you.
Yes, that's true. So I started very young. I started when I was 16, and I come from this city called Bangalore in India, and which is really far away from where the so-called Bollywood, the Hindi film industry is. But I always wanted to be a part of it, and I was a born dancer. So I was very good at picking up steps, from all sorts of movies and music videos, and copying them. And so I spent my entire childhood just dancing. That's all I did. Even in school, that's the only thing I focused on. And I had a very supportive family. I mean, they still support me, and they encourage me for whatever I want to do. So sort of, I was nurtured, and I by the time I was 16, I was brilliant at dancing. So I was spotted in a dance competition in Bangalore by a Bollywood choreographer, and she asked me to come assist her in Mumbai. Now, since I was very young, I didn't know what was going to, be in store for me. I just followed my dreams, and I came to the, gorgeous land of Mumbai, which is called the City of Dreams. And I just started working with her, and that's all I focused on for like the next 2 years. That's all I did. I was also simultaneously studying. But trust me, I was never really focused there. But, it was something that my parents just wanted me to do, Indian parents. So I kept studying also, but my focus was entirely on choreography. And 2 years down the line, I knew that while teaching actors is great, every time I used to teach them and I was on that stage in front of the camera or on that set, I knew I had to be in front of it and not behind it, the camera. So that's when my actual struggle started, and I quit working with this choreographer and I started looking at movies and television. And I was lucky enough to bag in a very good show as the lead protagonist on a very popular channel here, which is ZTV, back in 2007, I guess. So just like a year and a half of struggle, and I was, on a show already. I was all over Mumbai city on hoardings and stuff. That's where my daily soap journey began, and back to back I did shows, but none of these shows were like huge hits. They were shows that just came on air and went off air in a couple of months. But a couple of years back, I did a show, Sapne Suhane Ladakpan Ke, which was again a ZTV show, and it was a humongous hit. So that's when my life changed, sort of, because finally, the money was coming in, and I was being recognized everywhere. And post that, I did the reality shows, Jhalak, this and that. So now I know I'm making it sound very easy, like, okay, things just happen, but there is a lot of struggle and self-growth that's involved in even bagging one show after another show. Because any actor, in fact, any creative person would tell you this, that more than our actual job, we spend our time trying to find a job. And this is all over the world. So I'm pretty sure every artist across the planet is going to agree that, we get a gig and then we're waiting for our next gig and then our next gig. So it's that wait period where you really need to keep your sanity and make sure that, you don't go haywire, and you are sane when the next project comes to you. So initially I was very blessed. But after Sapne Suhane and Jhalak Dikhla Ja and Big Boss, after these reality shows and stuff, I decided to take a conscious break of, not working for a while, because I had done so much. I spent my whole teenage just working. So I just wanted to like live my life. I actually didn't even realize when I turned 25. Like I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm 25 now. What do I do now? So I took a break, and quite honestly, post-break, getting work became a big task. But thankfully, even that happened for me, and I did a show called Shakti on. So yeah, that was my journey. It had its ups and downs. Like I think the down was actually right after my biggest success, because now I was sort of comparing it to that success and not to my other previous struggles. So I think it's a game of perception.
Yeah, but beautifully said, because the same thing applies to entrepreneurship. I mean, I started my first business. I still remember. It's just my little house back in Singapore. I was in Singapore at that time, and that was back in 2005. And it's exactly like this. You go up and you go down. You struggle and struggle and struggle, and you've got to stay super focused. And some of the biggest projects. So there's a company that I ran in Singapore. We were only 5 women, and we were distributing to the Body Shop and Panasonic and you name it. But after the biggest success came another dip, like big dip. So we have to be prepared, constantly prepared for that. And one of the things that really jumped out at me, when you were sharing your story, you said, I just followed my passion. Like, it's like, there's no other way. I'm just following my passion. And I think our community, which is predominantly an entrepreneur community, they know that with the marketing, they have to sort of tell their story. They have to be out there. They have to really, be focused, be passionate about what they're chasing, and then build a personal brand. And a lot of mindset and a lot of transformations required to build that personal brand, to authentically show up every single day in spite of all of these struggles in front of people. So how do you get out of the fear of sharing your story and authentically be there online as you're going through all of these struggles, knowing that there is backlash, there's struggle, but you're still showing up every day, whether it's the beginning of your career or even now, you're doing that. So a few pointers maybe for our entrepreneur community.
Well, I would want to say this, okay, because I've realized this whenever I'm talking to even younger girls, and most of my following is all these young women, who are trying to become something right now and working hard towards it. I think this is our generation's biggest problem, and even actually previous generations, where the fear, of failure stops us even before we actually try. So I myself have dealt with this a lot, but as an actor, you're constantly giving an exam in the form of auditions, so you're constantly either winning or losing. So we get beaten down to the core that, you get used to failing, and somewhat, that fear somewhere dissolves. But every time I'm in front of the camera trying to, audition, I know it's, somewhere at the back of my mind that nervousness is there. So I'm pretty sure it's the same with, entrepreneurs or whoever is trying to make it in the world. That fear of failure is always there. And where does fear stem from? Fear stems from overthinking it. You're already thinking about what may happen, what may not happen, what has already happened. So fear is basically about the past or the future. In the moment when you're faced in that situation, and if you just go for it, when you're absolutely present there, you don't have fear. Your hormones take over. That's what they call the adrenaline rush, where, you jump off that cliff and you just go for it. So I think that's where techniques from, say, mindfulness would come in. I don't want to, start preaching like one of those people right now who's talking about positivity and being in the moment.
Every day, meditation has saved me heaps.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm sure then you get it, what I'm saying, because if you are actually present in the moment, there is no fear, because you either do or die. So the fear comes in only when you're thinking about what may happen or what has already happened. So I think the biggest tip is mindfulness. I think anybody who's trying to do anything on the planet, anything, even if it's just raising children, that's a big responsibility. I don't know why people take it so lightly. Okay, I have kids and, I'm bringing this child up. It's a huge responsibility. You're bringing up the future generation. So being mindful even there, I think is an absolute must. So that's, I think, one tip I want to give everybody, that it's important to be present in where you are. Only then you can navigate.
Yeah, well said. Well, let's shift the gears a little bit, because I wanted to also talk about the fact that you have a great following on Instagram. What kind of channels are you using, or would you recommend to start building your personal brand? And what are some of the things that you do in terms of, your daily, what do you do in order to maintain that personal brand?
Okay, about social media. So when my show was on air, none of these platforms were huge in India, like Instagram, Facebook. I mean, we knew Instagram exists, but I was never really active. I thought it was something to do with me and my friends. I never looked at it as a business module or something that I can actually use to build my personal brand. But as years have progressed, we can all clearly see that even before we interact with somebody, the first thing we're doing is we're checking their Instagram profile. And how many followers they have and things like that. So a lot of people, my contemporaries, have actually even gone about and bought fake followers, and I think that's a trend. which is slowly dying down now, thankfully, because that number is there, but a lot of people get fooled by that. Anyway, so I joined the Instagram game much later. In fact, I've just been active now the last 12, 13 months, and I've been so blessed with the kind of response I'm getting, even though my show is not on air right now per se. And in the last 4 months during the lockdown, people have really been like interested in what I've had to say. The main thing I realized here was that one, this is very technical, which people always ignore. They say be yourself on social media, and say things that are coming from your heart, whatever. These things will only work when you're presenting yourself in a good way. So it is very important that you are using the right tools and technologies also. Like, for example, you want to click a picture, you need a good camera. If you are going to put up pixelated pictures and you have the best of things to say or portray, it's not going to work. It is a visual medium. It took me a while to realize this, that I'm putting out stuff, I'm saying things I want to say. Why is it that people are not really finding my videos attractive, or listening to me or whatever I have to say? So when I realized that Instagram per se is a visual medium, and I started improving on the way I was recording stuff, it made all the change that was needed. So that's one thing, that one technical aspect a lot of people don't take care of. Like, it's a visual medium, so make it very visually appealing. However that is, that's up to you. There you can tweak it. But when you have something important to say, you should make sure that it reaches a lot of people. So that's when I started building. And I think over the last 2-3 months, I've gained around 30K followers just in the last 2-3 months, because everyone's at home right now, and this is a great time to make content. So yeah, that's my
that is a really, really good thing right now. Content is going to lead, in every single channel. It doesn't matter what social channel that you're using. But what you said, that is very important, to have a specific voice, and that whenever you want to go out there and share your story and share your message, try to reach as many people as you can. Is there anything else that you do consistently every day to make sure that you maintain this, other than, of course, taking care that the quality of what you're putting out is good? Do you have a content calendar, or is this something that you share?
Yeah. So I've checked my target audience, and I think it's important for everybody to really understand who their target audience is and who are the people who are actually following them on social media. So when I realized that most of these girls who are following me are 18 to 24 years old, and they're in the cities of Mumbai, they're in Delhi, or most of them are in Egypt, South Africa, because that's where my show was on air. So what does an 18 to 24-year-old girl want? So if I'm building my personal brand and say I want to speak to this particular age group, what is it that they really want to see? How do I lure them in and then say stuff that's actually relevant? Because I may talk about, world peace. If they're not interested and it's not going to get through to them, my effort is going for a waste, and I'm basically just wasting time and energy. Yes. So like, the one thing that I found was, when I'm building my personal brand, this is what I actually drew a diagram and I said, this is me. I'm somebody who's, authentic. I will not be using a lot of filters. So, my audience will now know that the way they're seeing me is just me. Okay, this is me, but I can also be this glamorous person. So I'm going to put on makeup, and I'm going to talk to you about, body positivity, that you can be both. You can be extremely glamorous, and you can be this person who roams around without filter. Both are okay. So who's Rupal Tyagi now? She's somebody who's encouraging these girls to be themselves, whatever that themselves is, whether you are somebody who loves glamour and filters also, even whatever. So basically, I'm now the person who can actually encourage you to be yourself. Second, what do I want to talk to these women about? I want to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes that I did. I can help them through my experience. So how do you deal with failure? How do you handle your body? How do you handle your mind? How have I, over the last 14 years of, my career, managed these things, so I can share those tips with them? But if I just get on camera and I just start talking, then it would sound like me preaching. So how do I lure these young girls in? I look pretty. I put on makeup, I put on some jewelry, which they probably will be interested in. Once I've got their attention there, that's when I say something to them that hits home. No wonder these girls, then get inspired, and then they want to, make changes to their lives. And when I read those messages back on my social media, I know that, I'm doing something right. So I'm staying authentic to what I am, but also trying to make sure that I'm serving the people who are consuming my content, because it's a two-way street, and that's the only way people are going to follow you. If I just keep preaching, they're not going to care. If I don't understand what they really need, they're not going to care. It is a give and take. It's like any market, actually. There is a consumer and there is a provider. So the only difference here is it's digital. I'm providing what they want to see and hear, and yet being authentic to what I believe in.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is classic niche marketing, and you really need to understand that in order to dominate or build authority in a market, you need to know who you are, you need to know who you're serving, and you have to dominate that niche in a way that you're truly adding value to your tribe. So that's really that's good. That's gold. What you just said, that's gold. So awesome. So we are speaking to you because you're going to be one of the panelists of Prarambh 2020. For a lot of people who don't know or haven't seen the other videos, this is a 2-day event around the change that we're seeing in the world that is prompting this massive shift into moving online, learning online, teaching online, and even earning online. So could you let us know a little bit about what you would be sharing in Prarambh?
So I basically want to be that person who, like they've labeled me the youth icon, which I don't really consider myself, but I want to be this person who's going to make this whole process of change simpler. Because what happens is, this is what I'm going to talk about even there. People are either on this side of change or on that side of change. But what about the process? We need to sort of make that smooth, make that gradual, because we've all built up such, huge ideas in our head on what's going to be on the other side, how it should be, how it shouldn't be, that this whole process will then become a big challenge if you are not accepting enough to see that, okay, maybe the things that you want, if you're that rigid, then you probably will have a tough time. So my job here is going to be to make that process simpler, smoother. I have some tips and tricks which I have used over the past, because our industry is very unpredictable, at least mine is. So I've learned these tips and tricks, which is what I'm going to share on Prarambh, so that people can, instantly start utilizing it and make this transition period smoother. So that's my goal.
Awesome. And we'll have the link of the Prarambh with all of the videos that are going, all of the experts that we are getting in from Prarambh, and we'll share that link with you. Thank you so much for your insights, for finding the time to hop on to the show, because
thank you so much.
You give us a lot of great tips on high growth marketing, and this community, that's what they're looking for. So thanks very much. But very quickly before I go, can you, so your Instagram is at ROOPALTYAGI06, am I right?
06, yes.
Yeah. So at Rupal Tyagi 06. Is there anywhere else you would like to direct the audience's attention?
No, as of now, Instagram, because that's my sole focus. I am active on Facebook and Twitter, but not so much, because I'm trying to create a visual experience more than, words. That's not something I'm very good at. So Instagram it is.
Yeah, but your messages are good. I've seen some of your messages on there with the photos, and they're awesome. So
yeah, so I use them as captions, sort of like, see, like I said, I'm luring them in with, because my target audience is, these young girls. That is why. So I'm going to show them a great picture of me looking really gorgeous, and then bam, write something in the caption that may just hit them.
And like if, when you're listening to this and then you go and open up your, her Instagram account, just look at how, what she's talking about the niche, and how she's, putting those ideas and captions and the images there, because it was a lot of fun for me, because I love going through people's accounts and see how they're doing their marketing. So it was a lot of fun for me. So awesome. All right. So if you guys want to get hold of our high growth marketing trainings, which we do free of cost on our inner circles and groups, you can join us at ahanalar.com/high-paying packages. When you go to this link, you'll download our guide on how to create and promote high-paying packages in whatever niche you're in to create a high growth online business. So that's www.ahanalara.com/high-paying packages. That's one word. And that's a wrap. Please join us as we interview several other speakers from Prarambh 2020 and other experts from around the world who give us high growth marketing insights. I'll see you again on another show of Rise and Be Rich. Bye for now.